Hello everyone, this is your musical compadre, Merry Mr. Moonshine, and I'm going to show you how to set up a great loop performance rig using Ableton. So, let's start with a new scene. So, here we've got two MIDI tracks, let's give them a color, and we've got two audio tracks, let's give them a color. And what I want to do is get these MIDI tracks to play into my audio tracks. So first, I'm going to give them instruments. And I'm going to call my first audio track capture. Call my next audio track looper. I'm going to put my looper audio effect on the audio channel. I'm going to set this one not to overdub, but to play instead of overdubbing when it's done recording. And I'm going to tell it not to ever play into the master. Don't ever output. So when audio comes into the looper, it's just going to get stuck in there. But when it's playing back a loop, it's going to play that to the master. So instead of the looper playing audio, capture plays the audio to master when you're playing your performance. So you can see it's activated there. So we're going to change that to not take an input. Alright, so we got our operators, instead of master, their audio will go to capture. And if you see what happens when these operators are activated, when we put monitor on in, now this operator will activate capture. Capture will play into looper once we activate in on the looper, and we tell it to get its audio from capture. So you can see it activating there. And the looper is blocking it from outputting its audio. So we're going to take this looper, duplicate it as many times as we want. But first we give it a unique color, and we can say we want 4 loopers. We can say we want 8 MIDI instruments. So if you've got an Ableton push, you can now browse your MIDI instruments, and you can say, I want a drum kit, a bass guitar, I want an organ, I want special effects, I want whatever I want. So that's how you can keep a bank of instruments that you can play into a channel to capture them. And then you can have multiple loopers. You can assign these record and clears to like a pad or something. You can have multiple loopers, and these loopers will then currently all play their audio to master. Now, what I want to add to this is a system where we can cue these performances before we begin looping them. So capture needs to be playing to master ordinarily, but we want it to sometimes not play to master. And the way to do that is we use the Crossfader in Ableton. So that's right at the bottom here. You see an X, that's a Crossfader. And we add an audio channel for A, playing to master. Set that one to in. We take its audio from the capture channel. No, sorry. Audio from the capture channel plays to that channel. And we're going to call this one pre-master. And then we can add a cue channel. And this one is taking its audio from capture. So capture is sending its audio to pre-master, Q is getting its audio from capture. So we set pre-master to A, and we can set Q to B. And now, when we'll drag our crossfader all the way to the left, to A, we'll be able to hear our pre-master out of the mains. But now, if we set our Q to have an external output, and we get it onto a different channel, you can use your right-hand side if you only got 2 channels, mono, you use your channel 2, or you can use a pair if you've got a stereo output available to you, that's secondary. And then when you drag your fader across, your crossfader, you'll see your 2 channels play independently. And if you have your Q output, you can see your Q outputs activating on the right here. Your master outputs activating when it's all the way to the left. So that's exactly what we want to see. Now, if you want to add vocal loops as an alternative to your MIDI loop, so what I do is I have one of these controllers to loop my MIDIs, and I'll have my 8 knobs set up to control effects, and they're all on this capture channel, so that my effects, the way I modulate them, can repeat over and over and over and over again with my loops. And then I have a master effect that's on this like funky touchpad, but if you have any extra dials or buttons, you can have master effects that you then put on your pre-master channel. And now if you want to have vocal loops, let's say you have an independent controller, you're going to carry this little guy to your guitars or your drums or something, and you have this independent controller, you want to set up some more loops, you can duplicate this capture channel and make a vocal capture, and instead of it getting its audio, let's see, I've taken the wrong one, capture, let's rename the other one, vocal capture. Instead of it getting its audio from all these MIDI channels, you can create an additional audio channel, input 1, and send the audio from there. So it takes the input from an external input from your microphone, and it can send its audio instead of pre-master or to master, it's going to send its audio to vocal capture. So vocal capture becomes a sync where we can put all our pre-looper effects for our vocals and modulate our vocals with effects and have those effects repeat over and over again in our loops. So these 4 loopers that we currently have, they audio should be playing into pre-master instead of master. And we're going to duplicate these and get another 4 going. And let's just see. Rename them to vocal looper. All 4 of them. Might as well give them a unique color. And so these vocal loopers, where capture is playing into looper, right? They're all getting the audio from capture. We're going to say vocal looper gets its audio from vocal capture. So you can set up your vocal effects independently, and you can still have 8 knobs that control both the effects for your vocal capture and for your MIDI capture. And they can be different effects. Now, once you've got your pre-master and Q set up, you can use a MIDI key to swap this, or a MIDI dial. You can also use keys on your keyboard for all of these. If you don't have a MIDI instrument yet, you can use this little button at the top. It says Computer MIDI Keyboard. You click a key and you can start mapping keys on your keyboard to all these things. You see this the record button for your all your loopers. You can have keys on your keyboard for recording and for clearing them, and then you can have more keys on your keyboard assigned to flip this crossfader so that you can preview things. And you can have one or two set up to change your effects or select an instrument, and the mouse can do the rest. So this is really possible with the keyboard and mouse. It's better if you have like game controllers. You can use Rejoice with Loop MIDI on PC. There's stuff for Mac as well. You use game controllers. This one's like a lightweight one. I prefer lightweight ones to the big heavy ones. And you can use small MIDI controllers, cheap MIDI controllers, pair them up with more expensive ones. So the little one is controlling your loops. Maybe it's doing one or two other things, while the big one is browsing your instruments and it's doing all sorts of like fine modulation of your MIDI instrument before it goes into the loop controls, which has its 8 predefined effects that you set up. So what do you think about this? Is this an interesting setup? I think this is one of the most advanced Ableton instructionals on the internet, probably for live performances. And I want to know if anybody has an idea maybe to improve this. What do you think? You can probably use sustain pedals and assign them if you use special tools and stuff. I don't know. Haven't tried a sustain pedal yet as a trigger for this. Mine is a bit jank. It doesn't work great. But I'd love to know what anybody thinks about the setup and how it can be improved. Have a great day. Much love. This is Merry Mr. Moonshine, your musical compadre, and I am a member of Nanogeddon. You can scroll through my YouTube and you'll see many, many embarrassing band practice sessions where I actually use this setup. And sometimes we pair up to Abletons together. We use 2 of them together. And we add synthesizers, musical instruments and stuff. And it's nothing like my polished, finished production stage setup, I guess, my videos, because it's just me practicing in my room. But you can get the general idea of how it all works. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, share it with your friends. I don't know, send me a little bit of crypto or something if you enjoyed this. Yeah, have a great day.